Hello everyone, these are going to be messages for mid-July, and these will cover the two eclipses on July 13th and in August. I was prompted to use cards I have never used before, and I'm going to mostly channel as opposed to using regular cards. I am being shifted in the way I work, and my passion is really doing more channeling than going through cards. So the deck I'm using is called Galactic Heritage Cards. I have never used them. I have not educated myself on them. So I'm going purely on intuition. And this is interesting because I've never done it. Well, not with cards that I don't know. So let's see how it goes. But basically, I've asked to be provided with information that will collectively help us all navigate through the next little while, particularly as we deal with these eclipses, which will leave us feeling slightly raw, slightly untethered, that's the word I want to use, and slightly apprehensive at times. Why? Because I'm getting chills, we are moving forward to a brand new awareness and brand new energy, and with that comes the idea of loss of our own, of our current ego. Eclipses are important for many reasons, and I'm purely channeling this. I have no background in astrology whatsoever, so I actually don't know what I'm talking about. But apparently eclipses are very important. They don't happen all that often, that much I know. But they come with a lot of strong energies. And these energies may make some of us feel fearful and frightened. And the reason for it is because we cannot see what is at the end of this energy, so to speak. So, it is to help us navigate through what's going on, how we're going to be affected, what are some of the messages that Spirit would like us to know in order to help us to move forward. Some of you have asked how the heck I do a message that is for general public and it's not even divided into different signs and it hits so many people. I have no idea. I purely trust Spirit, and I know they know what they're doing, and I trust them with my life. I have no idea how it works. Yet again, this is going to be one of those messages that hopefully makes sense to a lot of people, because that is what I ask for. My greatest wish is for you to receive guidance from this that will ultimately help you navigate through life. I will never be able to fix it for you. I will never be able to solve it for you. But as long as I can give you something that will help you shift your perception so that you can get yourself out of a rut, so to speak, that will be my greatest wish for you. I received a phrase, and I've never done this before. So the phrase that was given to me is, "That which transforms never gets lost." That which transforms never gets lost. When I see this, I'm seeing an image of the moon. Moon to me symbolizes aspect of our lives or aspects of ourselves that are mostly hidden from the view. And what this statement to me is symbolizing is that once we start to chip away at the uncomfortable aspects of ourselves, which are mostly emotionally and mentally based, physically too, but emotionally and mentally, once we transform our fears, it's almost like cracking the nut open and seeing where we're at. Once we get to the root of what we're dealing with, we can see the truth, and that truth can never be lost. When we are truthful to ourselves, when we are solid and resilient with who we are, we can withstand anything that comes our way in a much better way. It does not mean we will not have challenges. It does not mean we will not go through changes. It simply just means we will be able to handle these changes as we move on. When I kept shuffling the cards, one card kept popping up. So I kind of put it back, and then I said, okay, show me a message for the collective. It's the same card. So this is called 65, Galactic, Refining Galactic Lineage. Yes, at the bottom it says Pleiades, and it is signifying this is what we are collectively going through right now, or energetically speaking. So right away, I was being asked to add the numbers 6 and 5, which comes to 11. It is the Judgment card, the Justice card in a traditional tarot deck. It is a card of balance. It is the card of rebalancing ourselves, our energies, and consequently the world. So the message, the collective message here is we are going through refining how we are tuned. And if you think of the analogy of a tuning fork, this is basically what's being said to me. We are in essence raising our vibration in order to refine ourselves, refine our lives, mostly for the better. So that was the card that came up. I thought that was very beautiful. I'm also being shown that as we go through these times, and for some of us, these are complicated times. I mean, I speak to people every single day, and it's always because there is some complications, but it seems like over the last little while, there has been a lot of upheavals happening. These upheavals are not only global, but they're also, are not only personal, but they're also global. So as I'm being shown, when I zoom out from the vision called the world, I can see a whole bunch of volcanoes popping up, which to me signifies that there is movement happening. And when volcano erupts, it gets rid of the pressurized energy, and then it takes a while for it to settle down. But then once it settles down, everything can start fresh and new. So what this is signifying to me is that when we go through these changes, we will, through the process, heal a lot of our own inner traumas, our own inner sadnesses, our own inner stuff that we have from our past. And for some of us, it is lineage going back to other lifetimes. And whether you believe in that or not, it's actually irrelevant. But there is deep healing happening on global level. So many of us will be feeling these, feeling this as we move through these transitions. It's very important to protect your heart. Now, what does this mean? This does not mean that you block yourself and you don't make yourself available. It is quite the opposite. It is making sure that you are emotionally balanced by treating yourself the way you treat others. And of course, if you treat others like SOB, that is not what's being said. But there is a feeling here that's coming as if to signify that many of you have a tendency to give to others, but you rarely give to yourself. So that's one thing that you need to observe. For some of you, this is about watching what you eat, and this is more of a practical, mundane subject. This is about making sure that your cholesterol is, up and where it should be. This is about making sure that you don't forget your hypertension pills. This is about making sure that you get regular testing if you had problems with your heart. This is about making sure that you cut out fried and fatty foods if that's in fact going to clog your veins. So there is a practical aspect here being symbolized, and notice it is regarding the heart. So it is the physical heart, but it's also the emotional heart, the heart chakra. Is there anything else? I feel like I'm being shown like the earth is being washed clean. So I don't feel this is floods. I hope not. That is, I usually don't get information like this. This is more emotional clearing. Thank you. This is more emotional clearing. So many of you are and will be going through emotional cleanse, emotional clearing. And that's actually one of the cards that I was seeing earlier. So it's important to be patient with yourself in order to resolve some unresolved trauma or drama from your past. It is also important to stay away from drama as much as it is possible. Drama does not generally add to us feeling safe and secure and balanced in our heart. Drama, generally speaking, takes away our energy. But always remember, drama doesn't happen on its own. Drama is created. So don't be part of the creation of drama. Now, two cards presented pertaining to what's happening right now. And it's actually Brilliant. What are we letting go of? You have the card called Seduction and Addiction. So, wow. Well, many of you will be letting go of escapisms or behaviors that were used as an escape. I will compare this message or the card, if you want a meaning, to the Devil card. So this is about looking at the things that keep us stuck, our own inner demons, the things that keep us trapped in our own inner prison, the things that keep us exhausted because we are constantly drained, the things that keep us stuck or trapped in certain situations for whatever reason. For some of you, it is literal addictions. This is letting go of alcohol, tobacco, eating fatty foods, not eating enough, whatever addiction means to you. But it's also other things. It's being addicted to not taking care of yourself. It's being addicted to overgiving to others. It's being addicted to emotionally discount yourself. And I just got ringing in my ear. Some of you, I just got dizzy. Some of you may have dizzy spells. For some of you, you might have, some of you have sugar addictions. I mean, it's not hard to be addicted to sugar, but some of you may actually have some issues with blood sugar. And maybe I got dizzy. Maybe you need to check because you have low blood sugar. For some of you, it's you have high blood sugar. So that's also an addiction. The second and third chakra is being shown to me. So the third chakra is, well, our solar plexus. This is where our power is. This is where our will is. So examining behaviors and particularly when you look at your past circumstances and notice where you got stuck, and notice if you can find commonalities between those situations. And notice what the actual emotion is that you're dealing with. Because I hear the word stuck, right? Now, addictions keep us stuck, but we're always addicted because we are not coming from a place of balance. So again, the heart is being symbolized. The second chakra is all about trust. Some of you may be addicted to relationships that are disloyal. Some of you may be addicted to the idea that life can't be trusted and everybody's out to get you. That's an addiction. It's a learned behavior. Again, it's something that consequently won't serve you long term. So that's also being symbolized. For some of you, I'm being taken to a female's ovaries. So for some of you, if you're having challenges in that area, maybe go check it out. I'm not saying there's something wrong. Some of you might be dealing with urinary infection. That's interesting. So that's definitely going to be not for very many of you. Hopefully for none of you, but at least for some of you. Let me just see what else I can see here. Some of you need to stay away from your computers. Maybe that's your addiction. Maybe you're addicted to social media. Maybe you're addicted to feeling needed. That's an addiction. If you are addicted to feeling needed, there's a fundamental problem with that. And I don't have to go into the details why, but there is, that is definitely the devil card, as I will say. I also want to say this. Remind yourself why you're here. Now, I don't know what here means for you, whether you're in a situation or in life. It's important to ask yourself, why am I here? So if you're struggling with something, ask yourself, why am I here? And see what you come up with. Now, the next thing that we are letting go of, the card of abandonment. So, looks like many of us are leaving some trauma behind. Aspects of ourselves that felt abandoned. And this is generally due to family circumstances, or generally speaking, when we are growing up. So again, this is about refining our vibration. This is about healing the heart. This is about letting go of the past. This is about letting go of the hooks that we are attached to that prevent us from moving forward. This is all emotions. Anger is also an emotion. So if you are stuck in your past and you're angry with somebody, ask yourself this question: is this anger helping me be a fundamentally happier person, or is it only fueling more anger within myself? Because I'll tell you one thing, and I'll tell you that for sure: if you are holding on to anger, on to pain, you are the only one that will be suffering. The other person or people or situation is long gone. You're the one keeping yourself in it. So it's important to recognize that, because for some of you it is a hook. Now, I said, tell me where we're going. Sharing cultural ideas. Beautiful. So this is 6-6, which is 12, which is 13. So double 6 is, well, it's balance. Sharing is balance. 6 and 6 is 12, which is 3, which is all about expansion. So this is about expanding our view, not only of ourselves, but expanding our view of the world. This is also about letting go of limiting belief systems, is letting go of limiting ourselves by the way we keep ourselves down. It's about letting go of the restrictions which we put upon ourselves and therefore we put on others. So this is about not only sharing obviously ideas with others, but becoming much more open. And in essence, when we become much more open, our heart becomes much more open. That allows us to be a little bit more vulnerable. So if we have stuff in our background that is fearful, chances are we don't want to be vulnerable. So it is important that we start shifting from emotions of the past that are rooted in lack, in pain, in disappointment, in rejection, and abandonment, which is rejection, and moving more into a space of inner balance within. This is a tremendously huge time for healing. I am being shown the world. So the earth is going through, shifting through changes. I mean, we see these changes happening globally on every level. We see these changes happening in our governments and in our religion. Things are definitely up in the air. Little volcanoes are popping out everywhere, but it is for the purpose of clearing. Now, I'm being asked to talk about Taurus, Uranus being in Taurus. That apparently is adding an extra layer to this shift. Astrologically, I don't know what it means, but that's what I'm supposed to say. So for those of you who understand astrology, comment down below, because I would love to hear it. And then last but not least, where are we moving on to? We have natural humility. I love this, because this is shifting more to closeness. It is not only closeness with other people, but it is closeness with ourselves. And when we reject ourselves, when we beat ourselves up, when we are tied to conditions that are detrimental and suck our energy dry, we cannot really be open to receiving and open to sharing, because we're always trying to protect ourselves. So as we're going through these shift of consciousness, the lower vibrating consciousness, which is generally the pain, the hurt, all of that kind of stuff, is going to come up to the surface. And when it comes up to the surface, it becomes generally fairly uncomfortable. But I always say, or at least that's what Spirit tells me, when it's uncomfortable enough, we end up doing something about it. When it's kind of sort of there, we don't do anything with it. And because we're moving and shifting into a much grander way of being, we have to let go of whatever it is that has been holding us back. So no, because he's saying to me, I'm not giving specific things, that's what's going to happen, because I'm not giving predictions. This is what Spirit wants us to know with respect to what is happening in the bigger picture. And this will apply to most people in some part of their life. So natural humility, this is, well, humility, it means being humble. This is about tempering the ego. Ego, what's ego? Ego is very I-oriented. Ego is very selfish. But I always say, we are always taught to be selfless, but rarely are we ever taught to be selfless to ourselves. So the message here is, be selfless to yourself, but don't be selfish. There is a difference. When we are stuck in our computers and when we are just about making money and just totally fixated on a 3D world, we are not only are we not being our best selves, we are not living up to our full potential, because living up to our full potential means tuning into our heart and allowing our intuition speak. And when the ego is too bogged down with the mundane stuff, that's not because the intuition says to do that. It's because the ego, the mind, is too preoccupied with being too busy, being busy. I asked for advice, and we have the Queen of Water. It's all about emotions. It's relationships develop to a new level. Trust your intuition, once again, and care for yourself and others. So this is all about deeply caring for ourselves first and foremost, and then caring for others. For those of you who have pleasing tendencies or over-pleasing others, notice if that's not one of your addictions. And why would it be an addiction? Well, because at some point in your life, you have learned that in order to get what you need, emotional support, emotional balance, emotional stability, sense of belonging, you figured out you had to overgive. Unfortunately, that never works, as I'm sure many of you know. So it's time to get back to balance. I picked a couple of animal cards. You have the raccoon coming out of hiding. This is about us coming out of hiding. It's about us letting go of the mask. It's about letting go of the need to please the ego so much and shift more into our inner spiritual awareness. This is not about getting rid of the ego. The ego is an essential part of the human existence. Ego, for once, makes sure that we end up living. If we are chased by a lion, we better run. That's our ego saying, holy crap, I'm going to die. So this isn't about getting rid of ego. That would be completely unbalanced. This is about balancing the ego with the emotional aspect of ourselves or with the spiritual aspect of ourselves. So many of you might be drawn to taking up some practices that are new to you, practices that allow you to go deep within. This could be yoga. This could be any form of exercise. This could be meditation, of course. Anything that allows you to tune out the busy world, to get rid of the phone, get rid of the computer, and tune within. It is also something that needs to be followed up on a regular basis. And I'm being shown the symbol for prescription. So for what we're going through, for many of us, it's the prescription for dealing with whatever is coming through. Not because there's anything bad, but because we are going through changes, and that's just the way it is. You also have the frog. Frog is all about cleanse. Once again, looking at your life and seeing what needs to be cleansed out, what needs to be eclipsed out, what is no longer serving you. This is also about detoxing the physical body. It is about detoxing the emotional and mental body. Very important. This is a time of coming into balance, or at least starting the process of coming into balance. And the only way we know we are out of balance when things are in our face and they're not working. That then gives us the opportunity to look at the situation and ask ourselves this question: why am I here? What am I getting from this? What am I gaining from this? And is whatever I'm gaining from this, is it what I want? And then figure out where your balance is. Then I'm looking at the cobra. So the cobra is the inner teacher. And I want to say, even though that I don't believe this is astrologically correct, I want to say that the eclipses do force us to face certain things that in the past we may not have wanted to face. Why? Various reasons. Too much trouble, too inconvenient, the wrong time, the wrong lifetime, whatever it is. But I feel like we're not going to be escape it this time as much. Cobra is also to me about the inner power. It's the Kundalini. It's that raw power that resides with each and every single one of us that for the most part remains dormant. And from what I'm being asked to say, often for many, many, many lifetimes. Some of you might be yoga teachers, so you know what I'm talking about. Some of you might be masters in esoteric arts, so you may know what I'm talking about. I'm purely being given this, giving you this because I'm being given. I don't have actual study knowledge of this. So a lot of us are going through shaking our foundation in order to release our power. And when we let go of addictions, when we let go of abandonment, we will release our true potential. And let me tell you, when that starts being activated in your body, it feels like you are on cloud nine. It's generally not something that I'm able to keep for very long, but it is a feeling of euphoria. And for those of you who know what I'm talking about, you can make a comment. For those of you who have no idea, think of me as crazy, that's okay. But I do want to say it is about returning to our power. It's about humility. And true power is very subtle. True power doesn't need to be beaten over the head with. When you see somebody who is solid in themselves, they don't need you hit you over the head with it and say, I'm powerful. They don't need to say a word. Their aura, their energy says it all. So we are, by clearing our junk, by clearing our shit, if I may call that, we are exposing our true essence, which then allows our true power to shine through. So looks like this is what the eclipses are going to activate for many of us, and all the other planetary arrangements, which I am not familiar with because I don't know anything about astrology. But I am being shown the sign of Aries. I have no idea what that means. I am recording this on 13th of July. So if there is something in a sign of Aries that's somehow important, please do let me know, because I am just being shown a vision. And I think that's all I have. I also have the 6 month, the 6 month long-term projections that include the eclipses in the Vimeo. That information is down below. I go into a lot of detail as to what each sign is going to be experienced, and I ask for guidance from Spirit on how to maneuver through this. So if you want to check that out, that information is down below for you. And aside from this is all I have. So this was a very new way of doing the information, or giving you the information. It's a very new protocol, if I can call it that way. I hope you like it. I always just kind of go with the tide, and every time I shift, the way I deliver messages shift. And I know some of you may not like it, but I can't go back. It's just, I gotta move forward. So if this appeals to you, great. And if it doesn't, I hope the next one will. Again, I wish you best of luck. I look forward to seeing you soon, and take care. Bye.